Welcome to Martini Time. Let's see, can you see there you go. I talked about this the other night. My little old gnome and my compassionate clown. And so welcome to Martini Time. You are the world and the world is you. You are the center of the world. You are the center of your world, which is the world. You are the world is you. You're the center of, I live in Blackstone. Blackstone is the center of the world. Where you are is the center of the world. Let's talk about that. So, when I drink from my favorite martini glass, you see the frog, got a little ball there. I ask him to dive into the unconscious and come up with an insight, come up with a story, come up with a treasure, you see, a golden ball, you see. And he does. So the title of this talk is A Pump Flows Through Blackstone. Now, put that down. This morning I woke up pumped up, ready to go. And I wrote a little piece called "A Pump Flows Through Blackstone." Put it on my Blackstone Chronicles page. I ask you to check in on that page. It contains all of the feature stories I wrote for the Courier Record between 1987 and 1994, and it was one a week. So I wrote a lot of features about the people and about the town of Blackstone. And during that period, it was a real Camelot period for me. And Blackstone was the center of the world, and I was writing about the inhabitants of this little town as if it were the world. And the way I wrote about the people was that they were everyday people, but they were also magnificent people, great people, mythic people, heroic people, you see. But yet they were still mundane, everyday people. And anyway, I left the Courier and went into other things. And so that writing is coming back. Something blew out, the plug blew out. The water flows. And yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, it was a beautiful warm day, and my pump I have a Buddha pond, and it has an upper and a lower, about the size of bathtubs, and I have a pump in here, and it pumps water up to this one, and it goes down a stream, so it goes like that, and it keeps oxygen in the water, and the koi is 15 years old, and the koi are about that big in there. I'm waiting to see if they'll outgrow the tub. Or whether the size of the pond will keep their size contained. Because carp get pretty big, really big, when they have room to grow. But anyway, so my pump had stopped, and I checked it out, tried to clear it. It stops usually when it gets plugged up with mud, leaves and mud and everything. So I cleared it, and still the water didn't flow out in the upper pond. And I cleaned out, there's a big filter tank up there. I cleaned that out. It was full of mud. Still, the water didn't flow. And so the pump's broken. I have to buy a new pump. So I got a new pump, and it came. And I plugged it in, and the water didn't flow. What? So then the frog had gone and come up with an idea. The hose between the pump and the upper pond was plugged. So I got a clothesline wire and ran it through there like a rotor-rooter, like I was either a heart surgeon or a plumber. And I ran it down there, and finally, boom, and the hose coughed up the mud. And the water flowed clear, you see. Then I had another idea. Well, wait a minute, let me check the other pump that I thought was big. And darn if that didn't work now. So now I got two pumps, one for backup. It'll keep going now. But anyway, I wrote a story on that. A pump flows in Blackstone. Now this is a metaphor. And I talk about metaphors. I've got metaphors all over here. These are all metaphors. All of this, you see, everything here is metaphor, can be read metaphorically. Now, the metaphor means that it's just a fact on the outside. It's just a pump. No, it's just a pump. Oh, you get this and that, and you measure it, and how's this cost, and it costs, this is a better pump, that's worse, and you can take it apart, and it's a pump. But it's also a heart. And it's not just a heart, because if it's just a heart, well, then that heart is just like a pump. So that's holding the pump, or the pump is like a heart. That's not a metaphor. That's holding two things together, like an orange and an apple, and saying, well, they're both fruit. But a metaphor is that the pump is not a heart, your heart, you see. Now we're getting into it, you see. So when I say this is a clown, the great Emmett Kelly's sad clown, who was with Barnum and Bailey, circus, it's just a puppet, but it's a metaphor. This is a metaphor for your heart. It's a metaphor for your compassion. See, compassion is a elixir of joy and sorrow. Just like this martini is a mixture of gin and vermouth. Now, you may just drink straight gin, or you just may drink straight vermouth. But if you put them together, and once you put them together, you can't unmix it, you have a martini. Now, when you put compassion and sorrow together, they're opposites. They're totally different. You can't, everybody run, I want the joy, I don't want the sorrow. Put them together, you have compassion. And so this is a metaphor for compassion. Now, the clown makes you laugh, but he's sad. Why does a sad person make me laugh? That's a metaphor. The sad person, the clown, makes me laugh. This is me. It's metaphor, the metaphor of holding two opposites together that can't mix but must mix, you see, is ironic. And irony is metaphor. And the release from the vice or the pain of holding two opposites together and you can't choose one. Let me explain that for a minute. Did you see the movie The Hurt Locker? This movie was about that. Most movies are. But what you have, let me see if I've got, I don't have anything handy here, but wait a minute. Oh, my fallback. The old hag and the princess. Sorrow and joy. Gin and vermouth. You see? The pump and your heart. These are two, you see one or the other. You see the old hag or you see the princess. They're opposites, yet there's one picture. If you remove the hag, you remove the princess. So if I were to tell you to choose the princess, don't choose the hag. Don't choose sorrow, choose joy. Choose pleasure, don't choose unpleasure. Choose life, don't choose death, you see. So we split the world into these incompatible opposites, yet the opposites are one and cannot be separated, yet we do. And that is the pain, you see. I must be able to choose one. I got to choose something. What do you want for breakfast, eggs or cereal? Well, choose something, says the wife. I want a man who can choose something. I don't want you flipperating. Choose something. Be a man. All right, you got to choose. You got to choose. If you can choose, you're somebody. You see, that a whole system is based on that. If you can't, shopping is choosing. Oh, what'll I do? I'm so down today. What'll I do? Well, I'll go out and choose something. Oh, I feel so good. I chose these shoes. But they're all the same. But I chose that one, you see. So I have all these martini glasses. And I give them away, at least some of them. And a couple comes in. And I say, these martini glasses my uncle gave me, and I'm giving these away. Choose one. And they look at them and say, oh, they're all so beautiful, but they're also, I can't choose. I don't know. And usually the wife will pick one. She knows how to shop. I like this. And the man is kind of like this, and the ambiguity has paralyzed. His mind is oscillating between the old woman and the young woman. I can't choose. And the wife will see his despair, his discontent. And she, how about this one, honey? Oh, that's just the one I like. Thank you. You chose for me. You got me out of the ambiguity. You saved me from the terror of not being able to choose, you see, of oscillating between this and that, you see. Getting back to the pump, if I can. The pump that flows through Blackstone is a literal pump. There is a backyard with a Buddha pump and pond, and there's a pond in it, and it pumps, and the pond is in Blackstone, so the pump flows through Blackstone. But then metaphorically, that is more than just a pump. It's a metaphor for the heart of Blackstone. It's a metaphor for your heart, my heart, you see. A pump flows through, a heart flows through me. A heart flows through you. Everything must have a heart with a pump that keeps the water or the blood circulating. So the water has oxygen and the fish are alive. I was just watching The Blue Planet last night about the oceans. And all these oceans are alive because of the current. The current flowing tides back and forth. Current, the pump. It's like the moon is a great pump, and it pumps the tides up and down. It pumps the ocean up and down with its gravity, and the currents flow back and forth. And the oxygen in the water is full of oxygen and nutrients, and the fish are alive. And if the moon stops, or if the ocean heats up and it loses its oxygen, the fish die. So if the pump stops in the pond, the water loses oxygen and the fish die. If the pump stops in you, you die. And why do our pumps stop? Well, they get clogs. They get arteries clogs, you see. You go to the doctor and he reams them out. Just like I reamed out the pump. So metaphorically, I reamed out my heart. And I woke up this morning, and the water was flowing. The water was flowing, and my fingers just tripped over the keys with stories and writing. So all day, my water has been flowing, and for me, the water is writing my art. You have water too. It could be a craft, it could be relationships, cooking, anything, a piano, your children, your play. Whatever you do where the pump is flowing, you know it. But then it gets clogged and you feel down and negative and what's the use? I just feel, and then your body gets draggy and full of, I got to eat this and I got to go to the gym and I got to do all that stuff and I got to, oh my God, you see? No, I mean, that's all right. But that's not where the pump is, you see. That's not where the clog is. You're still working in exterior facts. You have to see the metaphorical union of you and the world. You are the world and the world is you. Now that is not factually true. We say, well, of course the world is different from me. I'm me and the world's that. That's true. But metaphorically, you are the center of the world. The world is you. You are the world. You are one with the world. You are the world. But then you are too, you see. And that's the mystery. How do you put one foot in the unity and one foot in the duality? You have to choose one or the other, we say. Either you're going to say all is one, everything's fine, poo-poo, Pollyanna, or you say everything's two and you got to struggle and fight for the food like a fish, you see. The law of the fish. So, the metaphorical, I say metaphor, people don't understand, but basically it's the artist's view, the poet's view, the artist view. Art is metaphor. Music is metaphor. Art is metaphor. You go to movies are metaphor. The movies aren't factual. The movies are, unless they're documentary, but even that is metaphorical. The movies are about you. You are the movie and the movie is you when you watch a movie. So if you look at the world that way, you are the world and the world is you. So if you see that through and through, you begin to work on the clots in you and not in the world. We work on the clots in the world, and we look at our body as a thing, and so God will work on the clots in me. But that's still working on you as something, as a machine. So we look at the world as a machine. I got to fix it. It's not working right. It's out of alignment. There's a wobble. I got to fix it. Take it to the shop. We're always taking the world to the shop. It's got wobbles. Get it in alignment. It can be fine-tuned. Tweak it. Something's wrong. A little bit out, a little bit of a lemon twist there in the martini. Okay, thanks for dropping in. I'll see you next time.